Hi everybody. It's been a really long week, and a lot of people have been encouraging me to do some video blogs, but I'm just so tired, so I don't know if it's going to be any good, or like I'd say I probably explain myself a bit better in writing. But yeah, it's been a very long week. It started off with a really bad storm, and none of the ferries could take off to go to, or set sail to go to Athens. So people were just sort of on standby, and they bought their tickets and they'd gone into Mytilene, which is the main town in Lesvos, and they had to just wait there until their ferry went, because information is so disjointed that there was the possibility that the little money they had on a ticket and the chance they had to get to Athens would be lost because they were, out at the camp, which is actually a registration camp and not a refugee camp. So ultimately people have to come through there, they have to register in order to be in Europe as refugees. But there aren't the facilities that you get with a refugee camp. There isn't enough accommodation, and there isn't enough facilities at all. There aren't enough facilities. So I work in Better Days for Moria, which is the camp beside. It's just an overflow camp. It's an NGO run completely by volunteers, and they provide clothing 24 hours a day and tea, which seems to solve a lot of problems, food, information when we can and when we can communicate, and often tents whenever there isn't enough accommodation, which is the case tonight. So at the beginning of the week it was just, terrible conditions in Mytilene, the town, and volunteers went down there to help, and there was nobody out at the Camp Moria. And then the wind stopped, but the snow came, and these smugglers just don't care about anyone. So they put people on boats, and it's snowing, and they're just getting so cold. And so yesterday I was standing in one of our tents, and I was just looking at this terrible scene just unfolding before my eyes of people who are just so cold. And they were just so cold, they were just sobbing, and mothers who couldn't keep it together to comfort their children, and fathers just standing there helpless, and children just stunned by what they'd just been through, and young men blurry-eyed, clearly having cried or about to cry, and just traumatised people. And we couldn't get clothes on them quick enough, and then they had to go stand in the snow for hours to get to register, because if you don't register you can't go anywhere. You can't buy a ticket, you can't go and stay in a hotel even if you have money for a hotel. So then in the meantime, since yesterday, 40 boats have arrived in, and accommodation is full, and the people doing the registration, which is the Greek government and Frontex, are overwhelmed, and they can't register people until tomorrow, but there's nowhere for people to stay. So before I left today, I was trying to get people into tents before it got dark, and before it got cold, and before the weather did whatever the weather wants to do, which just seems to show no mercy whatsoever. And just people were just so exhausted, and I just looked into the eyes of these tired souls, and like, it's really hard. really, really hard to watch. And there was this woman standing with her baby, and her baby was so tired, but the woman was like, I haven't slept for 4 days. And her husband was like, I haven't slept for 2 weeks. Sorry. It's just hard to watch. It's really hard to watch. And then I saw the family later on, and their little girl was sitting on the bench, and she just kept laughing. And it was so infectious, and everyone was standing around laughing with her, and we don't even know what at. And her father was just looking at her, and he was smiling, but he was so tired. He just looked so tired. And you know, I find myself trying to put a tent up for these 2 men who've been travelling by themselves, and the man said to me, it's okay, I'm a civil engineer, I can put it up. And he asked me had I been to university and where, and he told me he'd been to University of Moscow. And then he said that he couldn't stay at home in Syria because he didn't want to kill his countrymen and women, so he had to leave. And, you know, there's a family of Afghan people, and they're saying the same thing, that they needed to leave. It's violent and they needed to leave. Or they're poor and they needed to leave. And when you see these freezing families coming in, and you just know no one would put their lives and their children's lives at risk for no good reason. They wouldn't do it. But yeah, so we're all kind of running around trying to plug holes, and we're definitely helping. But it's not enough, and it makes you really mad, and it's making me really, really mad. So, and everybody's sick. Sorry. Everybody's sick, so, you know. But anyway, it's better than just leaving people to figure it out, or to freeze, or starve. And like, the support that I've been getting from home is just like breathtaking. And on a day like today, it just helps so much. It really, really does. It really helps, because this is just like a really terrible thing that we're witnessing. But we have to witness it. Like, we can't just ignore it, because it's happening. So try not to ignore it. You know, try just to keep watching, and I know it's hard, and like, I promise I'll like tell you good stories, and I'll tell you all the hopeful bits, because that's what you need to hear, and that's what everyone needs to hear, and that's what I need to concentrate on as well, and I do. But today was hard, and yesterday it was hard, and we're really tired, and it's nothing compared to waiting in the freezing cold in Turkey for 8 days to get on a boat when the snow's coming down and the waves are coming up, and someone you're paying $1,500 or euros or whatever each jumps into the water a few meters out from shore and gives you the boat to drive to Greece. And you have 80 lives on your hands, and we've met quite a few of those men who have had to do that, or young boys who've had to do that. And they're very traumatised, and it's just very hard. So, you know, all the help that you're giving, it really, really helps. All the, like, support and the donations and acknowledgement, well wishes, you know. It really helps. So, sorry for the most emotionally draining video blog you probably watched. I don't know, I mightn't even use it, but I suppose it was worth recording. Thanks.